Hey, thanks for watching Cyclone Reef. Today I'm going to show you how to build this algae turf scrubber. Should be a pretty great show. At the end I'm going to give you some links so you can download the plans for yourself and get started building one of these. I'll even show you where you can buy all the parts. So stay tuned and we'll get right to it in a second. So I'm putting a plastic blade on here. It's 180 teeth, and I scraped off, sometimes you get a little melted plastic on the edge of the blade. You can see where I scraped it off there, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Okay, so we got all our pieces cut here, and we're going to go ahead and, the saw does a pretty good job. We're going to go ahead and sand those edges though. And there's our plan. You see that edge on the camera there? See if I can get the light to shine on it. You can see there's some saw marks on there, kind of angling across that direction. You can see that a little better. I'm starting with 180, and that I'm using 220, and I'll work my way all the way up to 1200. And it's important to get that off because that will show when you glue it together. So you can see that's 220. But all those saw marks are gone now. Polish it up a little for you here. You can see that. Okay, so I've been sanding for quite a while. I've got all these edges sanded to 600, and I found, just to keep from getting confused, I've been writing it, I labeled each edge 1, 2, 3, 4, and so then I can kind of keep track of which ones I've done. I mean, you can see it too, but it sure is nice to have it labeled and know where you're at. I've also, as I did them, I wrote 320 here and 400 and 600. I still need to go to the 1000 and the 1200 and the 1500, but I think I'm going to wait and do that after I get it glued together. So all these parts are ready to go. One thing is that we do need to, these are our two pieces that our tube is going to go across for the turf scrubber, and so I'm trying to think of a good way to be able to pull that tube in and out and still have a nice seal there. So what I'm going to do is, you can take a look at what I've got on the tray here. I'm going to go ahead and take these, this thread. I just got these at Menards. So this is threaded 3/4 inch. And so I'm going to bore a hole for this part with this hole saw, which is going to fit it pretty nicely. And then I'm going to use an O-ring on the inside and the outside and put these two together through there. And then on the other end of that tube will be this cap to keep the water from coming out the end. And so on that end I will use this hole saw to go ahead and seal that up and support that end as well. So this will protrude through there a little bit, and then this will just be a slip fit with the tube, which I'll put in there, and then I'll slide it off to the left and and then I'll be able to sort of jockey it out of there. So that's kind of my plan on that. I bought a couple of these O-rings. You can see the size and stock number at Menards there. It's a 1 3/16 by 15/16 by 1/8 inch O-ring. And I was just going to mention this. It's interesting idea for you. I'm going to do all my gluing on this piece of granite here, and we went over to one of the local granite shops and found this in their dumpster, and they had lots of them in there. So here's a way you can get yourself a nice little work table made out of granite for free. And I use this for soldering, and it just keeps my Formica countertop from getting burnt from the solder or getting scratched up. And then I just put these rubber feet on it so that it doesn't ruin my countertop. So just a tip for you: you can get yourself a nice free work surface at any granite place. Just do a little dumpster diving. Okay, so we got our first hole of the plastic, and looks like we've got a pretty nice fit here. You can see that we're going to get a real good seal off of that O-ring there. So I'm going to go ahead and use this same method for my drain hole, and I want to get 2 inches of, it's like a Herbie drain, it's an overflow drain in the side here. And so if I bring that up at 2.5 inches, the drain will, this is a 3/4 inch pipe here, so about 3/8 of an inch to the center. But if we bring it up 2.5 inches, that should be pretty close to 2 inches at the bottom. I can see right here that I put this right centered up on my mark. It puts it right at 2 inches where the bottom of the hole will be. There's going to be a piece of pipe in here, but I think that's going to work out just fine. So we'll go ahead and clamp her down. One thing I learned on that first one is she wants to get away from you when you're drilling. So I'll take a little slower on this one. Hopefully it'll alleviate that problem. It doesn't take much pressure. Just kind of let the drill take itself through. Try to keep it perpendicular with the piece as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and drill our hole for the bulkhead now. In the bottom. Now I like to peel the edges back and just use a little electrical tape to keep it out of my way. This stuff is great for that, and it'll just kind of keep it away from that edge so I can get at it. There's no sense risking any kind of blemish on the actual cosmetic surface here. So I just pull that back, and when you peel this edge off here, it comes off fairly easy, but sometimes it rips a little bit. That's okay. Just peel it off. And now this is the inside edge that I'm going to be gluing with. So this next piece is going to just sit in here like this. Not this piece, but the clear piece. So I'm just bringing this back so that I can get at it and glue. You can See, this stuff really sticks, so it works pretty good. You see, I'm even doing it along the bottom edge, even though, you know, that's going to be a butt joint here. You know, I don't want the glue to get up underneath the paper. It might wick in there. Okay, so I'm going to put some 1/4-20 holes in this. And then we're going to go ahead and tap these holes for a 1/4-20 screw. When you're tapping a hole in pretty much anything, not such a big deal in plastic, but certainly in metal, you need to turn a couple of turns, or turn and a half. It starts to get pretty stiff. And then back it out to clear. You can see it coming out of the hole there. And just kind of clear that out. Because otherwise you're just driving all that extra material into the wall of the area that you're tapping, and that's no good. So you can see what I've done here is this square was like $1.98 at Menards. You can buy it at Home Depot and Lowe's, I'm sure, too. And they're, you know, pretty disposable, but I've used the electrical tape to get it onto my piece of plastic. And then I've got to get this centered on here, you know, and my lines went away when I peeled off the liner. So I got to do my best here to get that lined up now. I know this is 4.5 inches to the center, and I can still see my line, so I can get it close just by laying my tape across there. I can actually get it pretty darn exact. And then it's just all about getting this back edge position. Now I'm going to use, I bought Weld-On 3, which is very fast setting, and this is the Weld-On 4, which is fast set. One's a little thinner than the other. The lower the number, the thinner this is. Now I also bought some 16, which is pretty thick. It's like, I don't know, like modeling glue. And you know, it's just in case there's any gaps, I can fill those. This is a needle, stainless steel needle, and bottle I can use to apply the glue to the joint. I'm going to go ahead and take that off of there. They put these things in here. You're supposed to stick a screwdriver in there. I'm going to pry it off. Okay, I'm just going to draw some of this up with this syringe here. And put it in my bottle. You could use a funnel too, but this is a little bit cleaner. One thing about these syringes, the rubber on the tip, you got to buy extra tips for this, because the rubber is going to deteriorate real quick. So that should be plenty for our project here. You got to be careful now. This stuff, if it touches the plastic, it's going to leave a mark. So wherever it touches, it's going to dull the plastic, and it's pretty nicely polished, so we're going to make sure that we don't do that. I'm just going to test it on a piece of wood here. Just to kind of get a feel for how quickly that comes out. You can see it's dripping out the edge. One trick you can use is to squeeze it partially and then turn it over, and you can see the bubbles drip out, and that keeps it from dripping. No matter what you do, this is a drippy mess. And with just with capillary action, suck it right into that joint. And it's all the way through. This is our lid. So you want to run the glue, you can see it, in this joint. You can see it running through the plastic and making that a clean joint. Well, you want to get enough in there so it makes it to the other side, and you can come around the back side and put some more in there. And then when you're running these joints up the side, always start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. Or actually, I think actually it's better to start at the top and work your way to the bottom, to be honest with you. Because what happens is you're going to get a puddle at the bottom there. You can see I've got a puddle there. It's no big deal, it'll go away, and this is the inside of an algae turf scrubber, so, you know, big deal. It's going to be full of algae. But, you know, I'm just trying to make it look clean here. I'm going to run this other side of the joint too. Okay, so I've got our last two pieces taped on here, and you can see down on the inside, and we're going to go ahead and glue those now. Okay, so I took a little practice run here with this just plain PVC tube, and I cut my groove in it for the screen. It's not the straightest cut, so I'm glad I took a practice cut. I'm going to go ahead and I bought some of this red tubing from red PVC from Bulk Reef Supply, and you know, just make for a little bit nicer look. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that and try doing my final cut on the good stuff here. It's a little bit hard to hold your ruler and mark this bad boy, but I call everything a bad boy. I don't know why. I'm just going to eye it up here. So, okay. So we got our line on there. I'm going to go ahead and give her heck with the Dremel tool. Oh, you know, this really helps. Clamp the thing down so it's stable, you know. These are just Irwin clamps that I got for some other project, and they really come in handy for everything from woodworking to plastics. Rubber tips, you know, give it a little bit of compliance on the end, so it isn't going to wreck anything. And that's going to hold it really stable, I hope. So we'll go ahead and cut this thing. And you only want this one blade width wide. So I found that if you try to go over it more than once, it kind of wrecks it. So I'm just going to go ahead and file that out as best I can. Okay, so I just took a piece of this 1-inch tube. This is the 3/4 inch that I used for this. I took a larger piece of 1-inch tube and I cut me some little strips like this, and then I'm just going to cut that out, and this is what's going to hold up my screen. It just fits right over there. And so I can just slide that through a hole in the screen and that will hold that in there. So I'm going to finish doing that. This end nipper gives it kind of a nice beveled edge on it too, which I kind of like. And then this is our mesh. This is number 7. Just got this. You can get it at, you know, any fabric store. It's for needlework, and it's the number 7, so it's kind of got the right mesh to it. And you need to rough this up so the algae actually sticks. So I'm just using a piece of a hole saw here. So I don't know how well you can see that, but you know, there's a nice surface there of shards. Okay, so let's try it out here. Twist these up, puts it in nice. So there you have it. Now you see the top couple inches of this I did not rough up because we really don't want algae to stick up at the top here. What happens is it grows up into the tube and it can end up clogging your tube. So I've left the top portion of this couple inches smooth to hopefully discourage the algae growth. But there's the tube that we'll put into our system. So I purchased 4 of these LED floodlights. They're 660 nanometers. I got them on eBay. I'll put the link down below. And they were about $23 shipped. And it only took about a week to get them, so it wasn't bad. They're this is it right here, IP65. So these are pretty nice. Should do the job. We've got our little algae scrubber, pretty complete now at this point, so we're going to go ahead and mount the lights, and you can see this area at the top needs to get blocked off. So it's about 3.5 inches wide. I need to cut some contact paper here, 3.5 inches wide, and I'll adhere it to the side to cover that up. You know, you could use duct tape for this. You know, we're going for a really clean installation here, so that's why I use the contact paper. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put some insulation around the front edge so the light doesn't escape. I just bought some rubber foam weather stripping. I think I got this at Lowe's. It's 3/8 wide by 5/16 thick, and that's important. The thickness needs to be 5/16. And so this is it right here. And one thing, you know, across the top of the part, you know, you're going to be spilling water when you're changing out your screen and cleaning off the algae. So you kind of want to have the full length one piece of weather strip across the top. So when you do that, it can't get down in a crack here. It'll just be staying on top there. I find that using an X-Acto knife and just sawing it off gives you a little bit cleaner cut. Not that it matters, you know, but okay. So rather than do that forever, here's one that's completely done. And what I've done here is ran a piece of weather strip. This is 3/8 wide weather stripping, and I'm sorry, it's 3/4 wide, 3/8 thick, and same stuff, basically just a different width on it. And you can see that when we mount this up on here, it's going to just squeeze that down. We're going to butt up against, remember we left a overhang of the red piece here, so it'll squeeze up against that, squeeze up against the bottom. We've got our black contact paper here, and that'll block all the light out. When we put the other one in here, I'll run another piece of foam tape in between them, and that'll go ahead and seal the light up in there. I'm using these plastic, they're a black nylon screw. This is 1/4-20. Remember we tapped our holes here at 1/4-20 earlier, and so this is a thumb screw, which is pretty nice because you can just put it on here pretty easily with this. And so when you get these floodlights, it's not going to say anything on here about what the color is. You know, you have to just open it up, and then this is how it comes out. And you'll see 30 watt IP65. Okay, great, but how do I know that it's 660 nanometers? Well, on the bottom here, they have some punch outs, and it says 30 watts, and it's 100 to 240 volts, and they have grow light check. So it's, I don't know if you can see that, but they have that sticker on the bottom, and that is really the only way that I've seen that you can tell whether or not this thing is the right light, because they make them in so many colors. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and strap these cords together so they stay. And I stripped about 3/8 of an inch off the end of these. And so you can see they're equal length here, which will make it a whole heck of a lot easier to tin these wires together. So I'm just going to twist the brown to the brown, and the blue to the blue, and the yellow to the yellow. And, you know, you can use wire nuts on this if you wish, but once again, I'm trying to do kind of a clean job. Hey, I'm doing a video here, you know. So these wires kind of stink. So you can, I'm using a pretty nice soldering station here. You can take a look at it there. It's I got this I think I got this from McMaster Car, and but it's not necessary. I mean, you can use just a single temperature solder gun. I'm using resin core solder, and I like the I like to use the really thin stuff here. It's 63/37, whatever that means. I'm not an expert. I'm not an electrical guy. I'm a mechanical guy. So, but that's what the electrical guys at work use, and so I picked up a roll of that. You know, solder's cheap. It really is. This solder station was something like, you know, $60, and I figure, hey, you know, I've probably gone through 3 of those cheap ones from the home supply store in my lifetime, which would have paid for one of these. And this is adjustable for heat, so you know, if you've got some pretty fine wires like this right here, you can turn the heat back, and it really helps to not, you know, so it doesn't melt the insulation. So I've got those one more to tin here. You want to make sure the solder is flowing good. I use a sponge. It's just a sponge that I got wet. Keeps the tip clean. Really works nice. You know, this soldering station came with this little stand. You know, I mean, how many times have I been burnt with the old cheapy kind? So I bought some heat shrink tubing. You could use tape. Like I said, you could use wire nuts, but I'm going to use heat shrink tubing. And don't you hate these labels that come on these fittings? You can see that. Why do they have to put them on every fitting? I suppose it's easier for them when you come up to the cash register, but I always peel them off. I mean, really? Do I want a bunch of barcodes all over my my part here? I don't think so. So, you know, the other thing I do is a little bit of lacquer thinner. We'll take the ones off. Sometimes there's one of these here that they printed it on. And I guess, oh, this one here. So I peeled off the label, and underneath, lo and behold, is a printed on barcode. So I'm going to take some lacquer thinner to these and clean them up. So I used a little Teflon tape on this here, and I've got my O-ring here, which I showed you earlier, and I'm just going to go ahead and screw that on. Now that's just that simple bulkhead fitting. Boy, that ain't going to leak. I'll tell you that right now. This one here, we're going to turn up. And then I'm going to put this guy in to bring the water down. This is a little bit shorter than one of these elbow fittings. It's kind of nice. It just gives you a nice little short jug. So over here I'm going to mount a box for a dimmer control. You can see I've got my cables ready to go here, and they'll just go up into the bottom of this box, and we'll put a dimmer on there in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and tap this for some 832 screws. I'm probably going to use stainless steel screws here, and I'll put a little silicone on the inside. It's pretty simple to wire this. The black one, this is our cord from the outlet right here. And comes in the bottom, and the black wire from the outlet, the hot, goes into one side of this box, and then it comes right back out of the other side of the box and goes to our two lights. So actually this one goes to the two lights, and that's all there is to it. Pretty simple. And then the rest of them, the whites get put together and the greens get put together. Well, I got her plugged in. Let's fire this up. Flame on. So you can see pretty bright. And so I've got a little bit of light leak around the edge, but not bad. It's interesting, the whole box kind of lights up. But there it is with the cover on, the tinted glass on the top. All in all, I'm pretty pleased, except for one thing. This dimmer, I thought, the geniuses at electrical engineers where I work said, yeah, put a household dimmer on. You can see these lights can't handle a household dimmer. They just sit and flicker. So I'm going to use, I could just use a piece of that number 7 grid that I used on the turf scrubber sheet, and I'll just put that in front of the lamps, and that'll dim it back if I need to. I'm going to keep working on this dimmer thing. Maybe I'll get back to you on that. So I bought this it's a rubber drain. I think it's for a kitchen sink, but works out pretty nice over the top here, just to keep the extra algae out. The rubber sides kind of hold it in, and you can see I cut this down, and the way this works is so I just push it in that way, and I've got a O-ring down in there. You can see it, and so I just push this in until it seats. And That's our turf scrubber. So that's our algae turf scrubber. Be sure to subscribe down below. We really love that, you know, the number of subscribers gets cranking up pretty quick here, and we appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and put the plans. I'll put a link down below for the plans you can download for this, and I'll give you all the places where you can buy the parts and costs and so on. And if the plans work out for you, if you use them in some way, maybe you increase the size, but you know, my plans work out and you're able to get some benefit out of it, I'd sure appreciate any donations. I'll leave a link so you can do that. I'd recommend, you know, like $5. It'd be great. If you can't afford that, that's fine. Download the plans anyways. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Hey, thanks for watching Cyclone Reef. Please hit the subscribe button, like our video. We'll see you next time.